Hello, thanks for watching. It's Friday the 31st of January 2020. I am no longer a European. Doesn't seem to have made any difference just yet. Probably never will. The moon is void in Aries at the moment, so in theory it's an Aries moon. Still a time of kind of striving, getting things done, being kind of diligent about things. But at the same time, void of course means that those characteristics are on the wane because the moon is in between Aries and Taurus. She enters Taurus actually not until midnight 28 in UK, but 28 minutes past 3 this afternoon on the west side. On the east side, 28 minutes past 7 this evening, midnight 28 in UK. So essentially Saturday. The other thing that happens today, the news, it's quite big news I think, is Ceres enters Aquarius. She's already there actually. That was midnight 01. Just into today Pacific. On the east coast 3:01 a.m. Here in UK 8:01 a.m. So we're only just feeling that influence beginning now. Now Ceres is an asteroid. She is way out in the asteroid belt, right out beyond all the main planets. But she's quite a powerful influence. She's a subtle influence, but she most certainly is a powerful influence. She's called the Great Mother. She was the first of the asteroids to be discovered, and so she's asteroid number one, basically. And the Great Mother, there are other asteroids around which are much smaller. Ceres is regarded as a dwarf planet in many cases. There's lots of arguments with astronomy and science because science never know what they're doing, do they? But she was discovered in 1801, and she's a lot like the goddess Ceres, actually, who was called Demeter in Greek mythology. And she had great difficulty letting go of her daughter Persephone. And so we get issues around parenting, either parenting that you're doing or the way you were brought up yourself. How easy was it for your mother to let you go? How easy is it for you to let people go out of your life when it's the natural time for them? If that's happening to you at the moment, just keep it real. That's the main thing, Keep thinking, what is this actually going to mean to somebody? Is your child old enough to make their own decisions? Are you just kind of worried because they'll always be your baby? Do they understand that they'll always be your baby? That kind of thing. Ceres also has a lot to do with nurture, and because of that, the food supply as well, the symbol for Ceres, is like a question mark in reverse, but it's a scythe really for cutting down the harvest. And so we may see issues around the food supply really, because Ceres now is in Aquarius. She's not retrograde. She doesn't go retrograde until July. I think I said a couple of weeks ago she was going retrograde. She isn't. Juno is going retrograde on the 8th of February, and Juno is one of her daughters. But we needn't worry about that at the moment. Today, on this Friday the 31st of January, the moon herself is square Pluto, as void as she may be. Strong emotions, basic instincts, that kind of thing. It's kind of very grounded really. Jealousy, territorial instincts, that kind of thing come to the fore. But because of that, it's a great time for changes, and it's a great time for cleanups, as long as we're actually kind of quite mindful. Mindfulness is important as we go through that. People may use their sexuality in a strategic way. Sounds like fun, actually, doesn't it? Mercury void in Aquarius, that's been the case for quite a few days, so schedules may fall apart, they may not, because Mercury isn't actually retrograde. Mercury is going retrograde around the 17th of February, actually, and that is really going to be setting the character for February and the next couple of months after it, actually, because it goes right through until the end of March. But what is happening tomorrow on Saturday, the 1st of February, is that the pre-shadow to Mercury retrograde comes in. And when Mercury actually does go retrograde, it's going to be in Pisces on the 17th. But during the pre-shadow, and there's a post-shadow afterwards, by the way, but during the pre-shadow, it's when the planet Mercury starts to slow down a bit before she stations retrograde, and then she'll move backwards. As we view her from Earth, she'll move backwards through the night sky, and then she'll station direct again sometime around March the 10th, and that's going to be in Aquarius. So it's a kind of Pisces into Aquarius motion that we're going into, that we're coming towards, and those influences that are coming towards us at the moment, we could say they're the applying aspects, they're the next things to happen. So we do start to feel the effects of that. Anyway, taking a look further into the weekend, also on Saturday the 1st, first quarter ends. We actually call it first quarter, but that's like we call this the 21st century, but really we call it 2020. You know what I mean? Because the 20th century has actually ended now. And so first quarter is ending tomorrow, Saturday, the 1st of January, the 1st of February, what am I saying, 2020. And it's coming up 17:42, 5:42 in the afternoon Pacific. On the East Coast, 8:42 p.m. In UK, not until Sunday at 1:42 a.m. So really just into the UK Sunday. So that's first quarter. Now after that, the moon is going to be 50% full. She's about 38% full today. So she's gathering steam, gathering strength. But once she hits 50% full, she's much more visible in the sky. If it's not too cloudy, the night sky will be lit up quite a bit. You'll be able to see where you're going at night without a torch quite so much. That kind of thing. So the lunar energy is much stronger. There's a lot more power behind it. And because of that, anything to do with astrology or anything that's guided by astrology, which is everything, by the way, is going to become more powerful and have a lot more kick behind it. So I think that's really good news, actually. Doesn't always help people, but we've got a nice set of alignments on their way in, because on Sunday the 2nd, it's Imbolc in the pagan calendar, or a Groundhog Day as well in the States and Canada. Now, Imbolc, the actual meaning of that word is like in belly. It's a pregnant time. It's Epiphany, Candlemas in the Christian church. It's when the light starts to come in and the earth starts to come to life. If you've been planting things to grow, they should be coming to life very soon, because this is, the light coming in is the guarantee that things are going to change. So we've reached a nice time, really, because it's so depressing when the days are so dark, isn't it? But we've got about 10, 11 hours of sunshine in my part of the UK at the moment per day. So that's really positive, that's really powerful. And I've been reading about Groundhog Day. I didn't know anything about it except that, it was the name of a film, a movie, which I heard of sometime back in the 90s. But I'm reading from a thing here. Celebrated in the States and Canada on February the 2nd of each year, Groundhog is a day of wonder and curiosity based on the activity of a groundhog arising out of its winter slumber to check for his shadow. And it's going to be a good time for that, because the days are that much lighter by this time. And apparently the most important groundhog in the States is Punxsutawney Phil, who lives in a borough called Gobbler's Knob. Don't know why that's funny, it just is. Gobbler's Knob, near Punxsutawney in Pennsylvania. And in Canada, it's an albino groundhog called Wyatt and Willie, or maybe Wyatt and Willie, I've no idea. That sounds quite funny to me as well. And he climbs out of his hole to predict the future forecast. So, that is actually a sort of a characteristic of Imbolc as well. It becomes possible to predict things about the harvest. It's kind of a beginning time. And if you start off on the right foot or the wrong foot, that is going to affect what happens later on in the harvest. So I can actually see the relationship between Groundhog Day and Imbolc Day quite clearly there in lots of ways. Anyway, it's both of those on Sunday, the 2nd of February. I will be back on Sunday to do a forecast for the week ahead, but for now, I think it's worth mentioning that on Monday the 3rd, Mercury is going to be entering Pisces. That's 3:37 a.m. Pacific, 6:37 a.m. Eastern, and 11:37 a.m. here in UK. I think that's worth flagging up. So Mercury, everything to do with communication, moving into the sign of Pisces, and on its way there at the moment. But right now, it's just fine. I've lost all my pages now. This isn't fair. Right now, Mercury, as I was saying before, is void in Aquarius, so there could be all kinds of schedule disturbances as Mercury is on its way into Pisces. But once it gets there on Monday, we'll see some fixing. Things will go forward, things will improve. Right, that's it for this weekend's astrology forecast. Thanks very much for watching. Thumbs up, please, if you've enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe, tap the bell if you haven't already. If you have already, thanks very much and God bless you. It makes a big difference to me. Leave me a comment, we'll share the journey, and I'll see you again very soon. Peace.